President-elect Biden has consistently promised to make diverse representation a feature of his incoming administration. And on that end, he's delivered. A black and South Asian woman for vice president, the first female Treasury secretary, black secretaries of HUD and Defense, a Cuban immigrant heading Homeland Security, and the list continues. Still, many voices in the Democrats' broad coalition say Biden can do more, and they're turning up the pressure on him to follow through. Joining me now are Rhode Island Congressman David Cicilline, co-chair of the LGBT Equality Caucus, California Congresswoman Judy Chu, chairwoman of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, Texas Congresswoman Veronica Escobar, who is a member of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, and Congresswoman from California, Karen Bass, chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. All, thank you very much for being here. You know, last week was interesting because it seemed like every story in the paper, every story I heard on television was one constituency of the Democratic Party after another saying that the Biden-Harris administration, incoming Biden-Harris administration, had not picked enough members of their community to be in the administration. So I'm going to go round robin and start with Congresswoman Bass and ask, which agency is the priority, or is there a particular candidate who is a priority to be in the cabinet in the administration?
Well, I think absolutely on the secretary level is the priority. And then, you know, looking at what is left, I mean, very excited to see Linda Thomas-Greenfield at the UN, Marcia Fudge, of course. And, you know, we still have Secretary of Transportation left. There's still key roles that are left. And so I would look at those key roles and say that each one of them is very significant, and making sure that there is representation is absolutely essential.
Congressman Cicilline, speaking of transportation, one name that I saw reported late last week was Mayor Pete Buttigieg of Indiana, openly gay married man who ran for president, won Iowa. Is he someone who is on your list of a priority, and is transportation an agency that's a priority?
Look, I think he absolutely is someone who we all recognize would be an extraordinary member of this administration. But look, we shouldn't lose sight of the fact the Biden administration is on track to be the most diverse in American history. But we think it's particularly important that members of the LGBTQ community that have been traditionally underrepresented at the highest levels of government be included in this administration. We have no doubt that the president-elect will keep his commitment to ensure that his cabinet reflects the full diversity of our country. It brings strength to the work, and that includes members of the LGBTQ community. There are lots of terrific candidates out there like Pete Buttigieg, Randy Weingarten, Fred Hochberg, many others who are worthy of cabinet positions. But we, you know, the president-elect is just beginning this process, and we're confident that he will have a cabinet that reflects the full diversity of our great country.
Fred Hochberg, who was the Small Business Administration chief in the Obama administration, Randy Weingarten, who is the AFT, Teachers Union president. Congresswoman Chu, is there a particular person who is a priority on your list, or a particular agency that is a priority on your list?
Well, we are extremely concerned because we could possibly not be included in any of the cabinet secretary positions. And yet for the last 20 years, there has been an AAPI in a cabinet secretary position in both Democratic and Republican administrations. In fact, President Obama had 3 AAPIs as secretaries. Even President Trump has 1. So we know that there are very, very well qualified persons. Julie Su for the Department of Labor. We have David Kim for the Department of Transportation, and Arun Majumdar, who could be Secretary of Energy. There are people who could diversify this cabinet, but we are very, very concerned about being actually totally left behind and going backwards.
Congresswoman Escobar, is there a particular person or a particular agency where you would want to see a member of the Hispanic caucus or from the Hispanic community join the administration?
Well, first, Jonathan, congratulations on your new show. I'm so honored and privileged to be here with colleagues who I adore to help support the launch of your program, and I know it's going to be just amazing. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I stand with my colleagues to say I'm so excited that we're talking about a Biden administration. We have, we are on the cusp of turning the corner after 4 very difficult, painful years, and we are about to see the dawn of a new day. And the president-elect has been amazing in terms of prioritizing diversity, and it's a very welcome perspective after the last 4 years. I stand with also with the Congressional Hispanic Caucus to say that we need Latinas in the cabinet. I am super excited about Alejandro Mayorkas and Javier Becerra, and really grateful to see that he's tapped such talent. But there has yet to be a Latina named to the cabinet. My constituent, Lily Esposito Garcia, I co-authored a letter with CHC Chairman Joaquin Castro for the Department of Education. There is a great pool of Latina talent in our country, and we really want, as members of the CHC, the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, we want to see those Latinas tapped at the highest levels of Joe Biden's presidency and administration.
So when I was reading those stories this week and reading about the different letters and the different messages that were being sent to the incoming Biden-Harris administration, I was wondering if folks wonder whether, well, actually, I'm just wondering if you guys trust that the Biden-Harris administration will actually govern in the way that he promised. He promised to have the most diverse cabinet and the most diverse government, and to have everyone's interests at heart when it comes to governing. But reading these letters, I wondered, do folks really believe he will actually follow through? David, Congressman Cicilline, I'm sorry.
No, you can say David's fine. Absolutely. Look, I have tremendous confidence in the president-elect and the policies of the Biden-Harris administration that will support equality and support progress on issues that affect all of the communities that are represented in this segment today. And I too am thrilled with all of my wonderful friends. So I think we all recognize that policies will advance the issues important to our community, but we want to be sure that personnel reflects that too. And by the way, it's not only important to the individual communities we represent, it enhances the quality of the work when different perspectives, different ideas, different talents are brought to bear on the many challenges facing the American people. So it's good for America that the administration reflect the diversity that we're speaking about. I think we all have confidence that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will bring that in their administration. Part of our role as advocates is to make sure we're pushing them hard to be sure they're thinking carefully about these appointments. The LGBTQ community has never been represented in the cabinet of the President of the United States. The time has passed. That time has come finally. So we're doing our jobs, raising our voices, promoting our cause, and we, at least speaking for myself, have full confidence that the Biden-Harris administration will keep their commitment, and it will be the most diverse administration in the history of our country.
Well, Congresswoman Chu, given what you said of the 4, you were the one who was, to my mind, most emphatic and most concerned about the AAPI community being shut out of the cabinet for the first time in a very long time. Do you have confidence that if indeed there's no AAPI person in the Biden-Harris cabinet, that President Biden will follow through and govern in a way that is representative of all Americans?
It is so important that those seated at the table where the decisions are being made look like America. And we are very, very concerned because there are 15 cabinet secretaries, but we don't see that it's going to be very likely that Asian Americans will be appointed unless a big decision is being made in the next few days. And those cabinet secretaries are the ones that have direct authority. They have the ability to not only direct action, but execute action. And so we think it's really important, very, very critical, that there is an AAPI that is appointed to one of those cabinet secretary positions.
Congresswoman Bass, in the little time that we have left, I have to end with you because I'm going to give you enough running room here. I've asked you this before, and I'm going to ask you again. Come January 20th, there will be a vacancy in the United States Senate from California. Your name has been out there, but are you interested? Would you indeed accept an appointment from California Governor Gavin Newsom to fill the seat if he were to call you and say, how about it?
Well, I absolutely would. I would be extremely honored to serve. And I think that it's a real big deal that come January 20th, there will be no African-American women in the U.S. Senate. And the outsized participation that we had in this election, I think that it would be shameful if there is no African-American woman in the U.S. Senate. And if the governor called me and asked me if I'd be willing to serve, I would absolutely be willing to serve. And let me just say, along with my colleague Veronica and my other colleagues here, because we're all good friends, we're so excited to be on your first show. So excited that you have this show and to be on the first one.
Here, here.
Thank you very much, Congresswoman Bass. Thank you very much, Congressman Cicilline. Scroll back, prompter, because I wasn't actually saying thank you just yet. But Congressman David Cicilline, Congresswoman Judy Chu, thank you very much. Congresswoman Veronica Escobar, and of course, Congresswoman Karen Bass. Thank you all very much for being here on this first show. Coming up.